Hey there, and welcome to the Conversations with Ree podcast, aka the CWR Podcast that airs every Wednesday. This is Season 1 Life Is, and I'm your host, Rita. This is episode 11. Hi, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be looking at an aspect of life which I believe encompasses every other aspect of life that we have already discussed and will discuss in future episodes, but would essentially be the bedrock of everything, even though the reality of it comes out in different forms, some of which we have spoken about. So, life is walking with God. Life is making room for the author of your life, for the creator of all of life, to guide you through life and to reveal life to you. Life is walking with God. This then counters how it is you have been forming your truths and forming your realities, because without even realizing it, a lot of things do not consider the fact that you come from God and God made you, and you are to be one with God. You are to exist in a oneness with Him. You are to get not just understanding and purpose, but to be, I'm thinking heartbeat, to have the pulse of your life responding to God's voice in your life, God's word to your life. Essentially, I'm opening up the reality that the beginning of your existence, the source of your existence, the starting point is out of the Creator, is out of God. That's where you start from. And then enter your reality in time. We've spoken about life, the eternal aspect of life, and life being in time in a previous episode, probably episode 2 or episode 3. And you enter time and begin to form your basis, your thoughts, your opinions on how the reality around you is. And it seems to change depending on where on the earth you are at, the age you are in, the community expectation you're in, the society expectations. Some are universal, but are there really any of those? For the most part, they're contextualized to your community, to your culture, to your tribe, and things like that. And if you are not connecting to and responding to the one that made you, you start being morphed by all these other voices that seem to change the standards depending on the context you find yourself. And you find yourself sometimes conflicting with some of these cultures, traditions, opinions, expectations, but you struggle to go against that. For most of us, some people actually are able to break away because it has been cemented year after year that this is the way to follow. But there's almost a conflict you can't quite explain that exists within your mind, within yourself. And I believe it stems from the fact that there is an original call upon your life. There's an original voice. There's an original way your life is to be. These other things are just props. Whether it's cultures, traditions, and all these things, they're just props that are either necessary or not necessary, depending on the act. Assuming your life is a stage and it's a movie scene, and this scene 1 needs this prop, but scene 2 doesn't need the prop. So you have to be more inclined to the reason for the scene, not the props. The props just complete the picture or are taken out. And the original reason for the scene is found from your walk with God, from in your mind opening it up to, okay, God, I want to make room for you. You say you made me. You say you put me in time for reasons you want to reveal. And I feel like, especially coming from myself, I think I fell into the thought process of purpose having to be this grand thing I'm supposed to see, or things I've already seen people do, and I sometimes fell short or didn't quite connect with some of the things people are doing, but felt like, okay, I'm supposed to do that. Or even sometimes it was just making a better life for myself, especially in a material, monetary aspect, thinking that, okay, if I get that, then I guess I lived out my purpose. And with the years, with time, with asking questions, with probing to understand, who really am I and what am I here for? I found God to be true. I found that I will be aimlessly going through life, moving from one signpost to another based on so many changing circumstances, and never quite resting. Always trying to achieve, always trying to attain, and never really getting there. Whereas a walk with God, a communion with God, and opening yourself up to God and saying, you order my steps, you tell me how to make my moves. It's like checking in with Central Command, checking in with HQ, checking in with headquarters constantly, moment by moment, day by day. HQ, what say you about? And it's more than just for instructions from HQ. It's actually a relationship. It's making you know that voice more, making you know your author more, making you know God more, makes you know you more. Whereas chasing all these other things or going after them, thinking that they will answer all these questions for us, leaves you even more confused, because you attain or never attain and you're still more confused. I saw a tweet some time back, and I wish I had it here to read. I guess I'll put the screenshot on. So the tweet reads, either something is wrong with me, but adulting is a scam and everything loses meaning as soon as you get it. You get that big TV you always wanted, it remains off most of the day. Get that badass phone, there's no difference between it and a kabambe because you only use it for calls. Buy that car you always wanted and you start to hate driving and you'd rather be driven. Get that beautiful girl you wanted, but you cherish her long time and tend to ignore her a lot. Go to those places you'd always wanted to, but soon after you get there, the spark dies. Something about humanity and what makes it tick is just off. And finding your true happiness is one underrated blessing. It is not material. It is not an achievement. It's one puzzle that one needs to figure out. Only then can one have a fulfilling life. my 2 cents though. But this person was expressing how, if I find it, that is, this person was expressing how it looks like it's always an endless chase. You are seeking these things, and if you get lucky, you get them, but you're never quite satisfied. You never quite get anywhere, and it's almost like an almost impossible achievement to get to that place where you are content and you are at peace, you are at rest. This is me paraphrasing, this is me pulling out what I think his soul was asking versus the words he used. And in many words, or a few words, I am addressing his question, which all of us have asked, by saying, you will not find this rest that your soul deeply desires without communing with God, without a walk with God, without a daily oneness with HQ, with your source and with the source of life. That's where the manual, if we can use that word, comes from. The manual for life, and it is so different for each individual life. It is so different, but it's not chaotic. It's not a mindless God isn't picking it on the go. It's like it is so aligned. All these different lives connect in such a, it's like a symphony, a beautiful orchestra. The violins and then the piano and the drums and all these things playing different notes, playing different sounds, but all coming together into such a beautiful song. And I think that's how he's worked out our different lives, or at least that's the plan. But it's really a choice to surrender to that plan, to accept it, to want it, to desire it, to go after it, to make room for it. So we could go on and on and on about how to do life, and we could achieve many things, seemingly achieve many things, but until your soul has rested, it truly is all in vain. And it cannot rest outside God. I do not care how good you've got it. It will never quite hit the spot. And so to do life is to walk with God. Is to get to know your Creator, is to get to know intimately the one who made you, the one who is in you, the one who you represent, the one whose breath gives you life, is to know intimately. And this intimately picture is not our one night thing or a 1 month thing. It's a gradual growing building of trust, building of love, building of learning to be secure in their plans, or quite literally in their arms. And therefore being guided, and life being revealed to you through their eyes, you being revealed to yourself through their eyes. Life is a walk with God. I'm sensing to pause at this point and either see the questions that come out or the opinions that come out, and see then how else to build onto this, because there could be those questions, or because there's many other ways we could build on this, but it would be maybe more helpful to go the direction that is highlighted for you. If not, I will go by whatever else comes from me and build on that. But like I said, in many ways, this is everything we have been saying since we began this podcast. As we said, we are trashing, we are throwing out a lot of mindsets that were put in us and trying to truly answer this. And we've been using quite many different definitions, but it all comes down to this. And as we keep going, it will still circle back here. Life is walking with God. Life is this journey of your life hand in hand with God. Hand in hand with God. That's really the main thing. That's the core of everything we're talking about. That your soul is at rest as you're living, that your soul is at rest. All these things we're talking about come as a result of you attaining to that rest, which comes out of your walk, your communion, your oneness, your togetherness, your continuity in and with God, in and with the one who made you, in and with the Creator. And out of that is birthed power, is birthed confidence, is birthed a surety of you and who you are, and is birthed strength to believe, strength to do. It's birthed belief in who you are, in who you truly are. Out of this walk is birthed life to live, which is eternal, that is currently happening in time. So in this moment of your life that is called time, you cannot fully grasp it and fully live it to your fullness, to the highest version of it, if you are not walking with the one who sent you into time, if you're not communing with the one who sent you into time, if you are not learning about yourself and about life and about him from himself, from the source of life, from the source of life. Life is walking with God. That's what life is. That's what it boils down to. It all boils down to that. And we'll pause it at this point and flow with how things go from here. And until the next one, arise and shine. Bye. Thank you for being here. You can catch new episodes of the CWR Podcast every Wednesday, either by watching via IAmArete on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast provider. The CWR Podcast is currently available on Spotify and Anchor. This has been Conversations with Ree.